Hi guys, so today we've got a very special video. I am going to take you through all of the running costs and printer costs associated with the Epson ET-8550 when it comes to making physical prints from your artwork. This is going to be really beneficial for all of you that are just starting out and are perhaps not quite sure where to go with pricing your artwork. It's also going to be useful if you are thinking about getting an Epson ET-8550 and if you're not quite sure whether or not the costs are going to work for you. We are going to go through everything from printer inks, the maintenance box that's in here, electric, wear and tear on the machine, and obviously using the Paper Cutz various different cardstocks and finishes to really bring your prints to life. Another thing that isn't often covered when costing out, and that is a reject buffer, because after 13 years in the industry, I can tell you that not every single print prints correctly first time. So it's really important you include a buffer in with this to make sure that all your costs are covered. Don't worry, I'm going to talk you through it. So back in the day, Epson used to have something called a waste ink pad, and these either had to be replaced, which if you were tech savvy, you could perhaps do, or you had to completely send it in for servicing, or even worse, get a new printer. This was a nightmare. So when Epson introduced the maintenance box, it was definitely a sigh of relief for a lot of us. However, it is something that does cost, and it's something that you need to factor in when you're working out all of your costings. There are a few little tips and tricks that you can use to try and make sure that your maintenance box lasts as long as possible. The biggest one is to try and prevent the amount of times that you need to set the machine to do a full ink flush. Ideally, this should only be when you are refilling any of the inks themselves. If you leave your machine to not print regularly, then you're going to find that those printer heads are going to dry out and you're going to have to flush through a load of ink to try and clear them. And the place that that flush through ink goes is your maintenance box. If you are doing this regularly, then it means that it is going to fill up and you are going to need to replace it much more often than you should do. Another tip is to obviously not let your printer sit in temperature extremes. I have moved mine away from the window and it is in an ambient temperature part of the room. This means that the risk of it drying out, especially with these really hot temperatures we've recently been experiencing, is much lower. There's also little things that I do on a regular basis just to try and make sure that those inkheads don't dry out. The biggest one is probably just doing a little print every other day, and I have a weekly and a daily task planner template that I print out on just normal copy paper, and I set it to a draft setting to make sure that it's not using too much ink, but it is still getting a nice little workout. Also, never let the ink drop below a minimum on the tanks, as this can cause air to get into the actual internals, which you don't want, because obviously that's going to cause problems with your printing. So I have done a lot of research and testing, and I have figured out that each maintenance box should last you approximately 3,500 full colour prints. And the cheapest place that I have found for a specific Epson maintenance box is from Cartridge People at £20.71. This makes it approximately 0.59p per full colour A4 borderless print. Next up, we're going to discuss the ink. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a guesstimate. I am going to be printing other things, not just prints, and it is very difficult to get an accurate representation of how much ink a printer usually uses. One word of caution: the manufacturers will tell you one thing that a tank should last for. It is never that much. They generally don't take into account the refill right at the beginning and having to flush through the system and things like that. However, since I've been using this, I have been making very careful recordings, and we are looking at 500 to 600 full colour borderless prints per full set of inks. Now, typically it will be the grey that goes first. They will all go at different rates. So again, it's a bit difficult to have a truly accurate figure. So this is just a guideline, and it's what I'm basing my costings on. A full set is currently £69.55 from Cartridge People, which makes it approximately 13p in ink for a full A4 borderless colour print. Now, electric, as I said, you need to factor in absolutely everything when it comes to setting your costings. If you don't, there is a real risk that you are not going to be making any money and you could actually be losing money. Now, luckily, printers are extremely economical when it comes to electricity use. Even if I ran this for an hour solid, it would be around 1p in electric used. Now, if you remember, I said that the maintenance box would be 0.59p per print. So just to kind of make that a bit more accurate, if we factor that in with the electricity, which is a penny an hour for multiple prints, we're just going to round that up to a cost of 1p for both the maintenance box and the electricity, which again is a tiny amount, but we have to include it. Now, something that I have always factored into my printing costs is wear and tear on the machine. Now, even if you treat this by the book, do everything you should do, it will eventually break. And it is really important that you are putting money aside from each sale to put towards a new printer. Likewise, if it breaks and needs to be sent in for repair, then hopefully you should have that money available. I like to factor in 10p per item or per print, which means that if I was to sell 6,500 units of an item, then that money that I would set aside in a separate pot would effectively pay for a brand new printer. Again, it is completely up to you, but it is something that I would definitely highly advise. So we loosely talked about reject buffers earlier on in the video, and as I mentioned, every now and then a print will fail. Now, based on my experience of about 13 years, these typically happen when you're on a deadline, and the amount roughly is about 1 in 5 prints. So I usually like to do a 1.2 multiplication once I have all of my final costs involved, so that I can add in that reject buffer. But obviously we can't do this until right at the end, once we have figured out our labour for printing and also whatever cardstock we're going to use too. So to just round everything up, this is the pre-totals before we move into labour and cardstock selection. And we are looking at a maintenance box of 0.59p, ink at around 13p a print, and as that electric is minimal, we're going to add that tiny less than a penny on to the maintenance box fee and bring it up to 1 pence for both the maintenance box fee and for the electricity. The wear and tear fund, as I mentioned, would be 10p. So we're looking at a total of 14p if you don't want that wear and tear, and 24p if you want to make sure you've calculated correctly with that wear and tear buffer included. Now we come to labour, and this is the one that most people trip up on. It is no good not paying yourself a wage, because as I have mentioned, this is going to just end up being a very expensive hobby. If the aim is to make money from your business, then you definitely need to be including labour. It's not just printing the actual print that you need to take into account. You need to make sure that you have allocated money for the actual design, whether that is illustrating or graphic designing, and also for the setup of the document itself in your chosen graphic design software. Then you can obviously take into account the physical printing of the order itself. Postage and packaging will be done completely separately. Some people like to add in the packaging time. I personally don't, but if you're offering free postage, then obviously that is something you need to take into consideration and add it in here. Now, I understand that that might seem really overwhelming, but a good rule of thumb is to decide on how much money you wish to be earning an hour. Now, for ease of use, I am going to suggest £15. This is not something you need to be sticking to. It's just a nice round number that is above minimum wage in the UK. I also like to calculate my figures as if I was going to sell 50 of each design. So for example, if an illustration takes me 2 hours and we're obviously paying ourselves £15 an hour, that would be £30. Now, if I'm working on the assumption that I'm going to sell 50 of a print, we are going to divide that £30 by 50. So that would take us to 60 pence. Now, if we apply that same logic to actually setting up the design in Affinity Designer, it would take me roughly 15 minutes. And if I was expecting to sell 50 of those, that would obviously bring us to 7.5p. We're going to round up to 8 pence. Now, you'd obviously never print out a single printout. The idea would be to batch it. I like to batch in numbers of 10 so that when orders come in, I've got some ready to go. So we are going to apply this logic of batch printing to figure out how long it would take us to actually physically print the design. Now, you're obviously not going to be sat here babysitting the whole process. You need to turn the computer on, boot up your graphic design software, load up the printer, set it to print, and maybe occasionally baby the printer if something's got stuck. So for simplicity, I'm going to say that it would take me 10 minutes of hands-on time to print 10 prints, and with my hourly rate that would work out at 25 pence per print. So this would bring our total labour to 93 pence per print. So before we discuss the cardstock, just to recap, we are looking at 20 pence for the actual physical printer cost and 93 pence for the labour. So combined, that would be a total of £1.17. Next up, cardstock. Now remember, I get all of my cardstock from Paper Cutz, not just because they sponsor my channel. I have been using them since 2013 when I first started, because their quality has always been fantastic. Customer services is amazing, and I love the range that they offer. So I'm going to go through my top cardstock for creating prints, and I'll give you a breakdown of cost for all of them. Just remember that if you buy in bulk from Paper Cutz, you are going to save even more. For simplicity, I have aimed this video at beginners, so we're going to go for purchasing either a 25 sheet pack or a 50 sheet pack, depending on which one is available. This will enable you to try out the different finishes before committing to a larger purchase. Paper Cutz A4 Gloss 300 GSM is a personal favourite. It has a beautiful finish that really captures the light and helps to make those colours really pop. It also enhances sharpness, meaning that it is perfect for photography, not just illustration-based printing. So although Paper Cutz has got a very large variety of different sizes and GSM, my personal favourite is A4 at 300 GSM. The pricing for a pack of 50 comes out at 11.58 pence, and obviously we're going to up that to 212p. The A4 matte is fantastic for lighter coloured prints because you don't lose any definition because it has a non-reflective surface. Just like the gloss, it is available in a lot of different GSMs and sizes, but I prefer A4 at 300 GSM. That works out at £11.99 for 50 sheets or 23.98 pence per single sheet, which we're going to round up to 24p. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you will have seen 2 videos ago I used the beautiful Zeta linen and hammer effect. This is a premium cardstock that can really help to elevate your illustrations. It works perfectly with watercolor based or subtle based illustrations, and it really helps to show that texture beneath, which elevates the design and makes it a little less flat looking and a little more original piece looking. It's available in 3 colours, which is ivory, white and brilliant white. For me personally, I prefer to use a brilliant white as I find that it gives a much truer to screen colour because you have that base brilliant white. When I create my prints, I actually prefer to use the 260 GSM as I find that the printer copes much better with it. It will handle the 300 GSM, but it's more prone to paper jams, whereas the 260 GSM, because it's texture, it still has that great thickness, but it just goes through the printer a little more easily. So the Zeta range in 260 GSM is £5.60 for 10 sheets or 56 pence a sheet. As mentioned, this is a premium cardstock, so you should make sure that you have priced accordingly for your prints. Speaking of premium, we have the Paper Cutz beautiful Pearl Shine finish. Now this one is available in either gold or ice white. For obvious reasons, I don't use the gold when it comes to printing on my illustrations because it just skews the colour. The brilliant white has got this fantastic base, meaning that it prints beautifully and gives a much truer representation to the original illustration. And depending on the subject, it can give a beautiful ethereal finish to your design, which I really love. Again, I use the 260 GSM, which handles beautifully with my printer, and it is £7.26 for 25 sheets or 29.4 pence each, which we're obviously going to round up to 30p. So now we have all of those costings laid out, we are going to go through and add them all together and calculate what it would be with the reject buffer to get our final price. My most popular finish is the 300 GSM in matte, and it would cost £1.41 for the printer, running costs, labour and cardstock. So as I'm selling I'm going to factor in that reject buffer, which is about 1.5. So we're going to multiply that total by 1.2, which will give us a final costing of 1.692, or round up to £1.70. When it comes to costs, I always round up, never down. Gloss 300 GSM is £1.29 as the cost, and with the buffer included, it comes out at £1.55. The Zeta linen and hammer is costed at £1.73. And if we include the buffer, we get a final price of £2.08. The Ice White Pearl Shine costing is £1.47, which increases to £1.77 with the buffer. So now you have all of those costings, you can see just how economical it is to use the Epson ET-8550 with the wide range of Paper Cutz cardstock. They really are the perfect combination. Now, although this is a detailed look at all of the costs involved with creating your actual prints, it obviously doesn't take into account platform fees or sale percentages that you may get if you are selling via a third-party platform such as Etsy. It's really important that you make sure that you factor all of these in when you come up with your sale price. Likewise, if you want to take part in sales, or if you want to eventually sell for wholesale, these all need to be allocated. It is so important that you go through things item by item so that you can afford a big enough buffer to cover your costs and still be taking not just a labour amount but also profit, because without profit you are technically not making any money whatsoever, and it is just a very expensive hobby. Now, I've obviously gone through and costed all of these prints out for A4, but the formula is exactly the same as to whether it is A5, A6 or even A3. You just need to adjust those totals ever so slightly to come up with your final figure. I like to keep a spreadsheet when it comes to costings so that I can very easily switch in and out figures when materials price, or if I want to pay myself a slightly different labour rate. If you'd like me to create a video where I give away a free spreadsheet template for you to be able to do the same, add a comment down below and let me know. If you're an illustrator or if you're already selling prints, leave a link to your shop in the comments because I'd love to hop over and show you some love. A great big thank you to Paper Cutz for not only sponsoring today's video, but for consistently helping to support my business by providing me with the fantastic cardstocks that I use for all of my orders. As always, links to everything that I have used will be in the description box down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share with a crafty friend. And I can't wait to see you next week. Bye!